record button. Okay.
All right.
Well, audience, you just missed a great joke. Sorry. Not going to repeat it.
Missed a lot of great stuff, actually.
Can't explain the joke. Makes it not funny.
Wow. All right, let's take a look. What do we got here?
You're watching? Are we starting?
Yeah, this is it.
Here we go. All
Go
right.
time.
Oh, let me hide this down here. I've been lacking. I'm not going to lie.
How do I blur my background? That seems cool.
So big things come. Yeah, you're going to want to blur your background for sure.
Why?
Just in case.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Here we are.
I don't think I want any of this stuff.
Big episode.
Dude, did you guys see that video of like a lawyer during trial and he accidentally changed his filter to like him being a cat or a squirrel or something? And they just go on with the trial because he can't figure it out. Pretty great stuff.
Was it like a mass murder?
I don't know like what the context of the trial was, but it was definitely serious.
He was this guy.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Oh, there we go.
Absolutely.
Well, it can't be as serious as we're about to discuss. So.
Yeah, this is serious stuff, guys. Come on. Stop blurring your background. This is serious stuff.
All right, I'm not blurred anymore. This is the real me.
All right. I feel you.
For those on audio only, Jack just turned into a bucket of French fries.
Nobody's on audio only.
Oh.
Everyone wants to
gobble.
see what we're doing. Everybody wants to.
He means the audience.
All right, let's get down to business.
I know he's talking about the audience. Oh, whoa, I'm in a that's kind of cool.
Oh shit. No.
Oh yeah, I got my new
I'm in like what's that music video? Take on Me. I'm in the Take on Me music video right now.
This is wild.
That's
Someone talk about the album.
Okay. Well, Brothers in Arms.
Not me.
Great movie. Wow, that's too blurry.
Wait,
Yeah, that's
there we
all right.
go. I got the real hat.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
That's great stuff.
That was magical.
It's real.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
Real
Let's
and
get
back.
started.
I stopped horsing around, everyone. Jeez.
Yeah, this is serious. Let me get back to Zurich. Okay.
All right. Now that we're back in our professional setting, let's take a deep dive into this week's album, Brothers in Arms.
That was a very dry introduction, man.
Sorry, this is the monotone episode.
The
That's what I
NPR
sound
episode.
Yeah. Yes, NPR. This is NPR Talk Radio.
Oh man. Anybody knowledgeable
No,
enough
Anybody listen to this? Anybody listen to this album this week?
All right,
not me. No.
All right, let's kill this.
I'll do it. I'll throw something out there.
All right, thank you.
I did scroll through the week. It was a week ago though, so I mean, surprisingly, at least for me, I think it might be the most successful commercial album we've done, and might be back to back.
That was surprising for me as well.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How are you judging that? What
Same
metric
here.
are you using?
By this line right there, 9 times platinum and is one of the world's best-selling albums.
Yep. It also has a Guinness Book of World Records, I think, for first album to hit. It might be 1 million. I don't know if that's right. That sounds kind of low though.
CD, I think.
The CD thing. Yep. First CD to hit some number of sales.
That's crazy.
Did it sell more copies than 1984?
Who knows?
Yeah.
A real metric by which to measure things.
Yeah, that's the only real way to know if it's any good.
It's sitting at the top of the table for a reason. So
I love how like back in the day, albums were just like recorded at what essentially would be like Airbnbs now.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
Yeah.
we should rent an Airbnb and do something important. Come on, we're slacking.
Seamus.
Yeah.
It sold 11 million. Not even close. Crazy.
What did?
1984.
Wow.
And it sold a lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, so this sold 30 million, I think, is what it says.
Well, I have 20 million copies of 1984. So
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a guess at what the best-selling album of all time is?
Thriller.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thriller. Yeah.
Spot on.
Is Back in Black number 2?
Yeah.
Rumors. Oh shit.
Back in Black, and then Dark Side of the Moon, and then The Bodyguard by Whitney Houston, and then Michael Jackson, then Bad Outta Hell by Meatloaf. What?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Fuck, what is the other one? Is Guns N' Roses up there now? Appetite for Destruction?
I don't see it. It's
Gotcha.
not in the top 30. Oh, it's number 30. It's right. It's Appetite for Destruction, and then Brothers in Arms is tied for 31. It's both 30 million.
Interesting.
Seamus, your list just sounds like what's it? The top shelf of the Best Buy for the vinyl records they sell.
Are you insinuating something about my taste in music?
That's just how it is. That's just the Best Buy model.
Iggy, would you say that you are like our resident Dire Straits guy or no? I know that you had a couple of their albums on vinyl. Like, don't you have all the big ones on vinyl?
I think so. Yeah. No, I wouldn't call myself the resident Dire Straits guy. I think we talked about it a bit last week, but everything I listen to is, popular music, and I do like most of all the bands I really like are just the really popular bands. I think this is one of the few. I mean, obviously they're pretty popular, but kind of the more lesser known of the popular group that I do like, and I'll talk about it a bit when I come to the album. And maybe I could just go first, but it mostly just stemmed from one of my best friends in college. He did percussion in high school, and he just weirdly loved Dire Straits. It was his favorite band by far, and just kind of an interesting. You don't hear that often for favorite classic rock band.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think I know what you're saying. Like, everybody knows Money for Nothing. They have one or two other like big hits, right? Maybe
Going to Swing.
Yes, yeah, that's the only one I'm thinking of. So like everybody knows those songs, but to your point, like not a lot of people, I would say, know a lot of the other songs on the album. I wouldn't think. I mean, correct me if I'm
Walk of
wrong,
Life
if you guys would say so.
I feel like Walk of Life might be up there as well as like a pretty like mega famous song, but I think it's probably into that.
I think it's in movies, isn't it? In like Ice Age.
Yeah, that could definitely be.
That's
You're
wild.
probably onto something.
I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
saw,
Walk of
but
Life is pretty recognizable song.
Yeah, that's pretty recognizable.
it
It's
has
a radio
more
song, right?
than the Money for Nothing, which I thought was pretty shocking. And
What's
yeah,
that?
Seamus, it had more plays than Money for Nothing on Spotify.
That's wild. Is that
yeah,
true?
which someone can fact check me there.
I mean, I think the big thing with Money for Nothing is like the intro. You know what I mean? I don't think it's quite as the rest of the song is quite as easy to digest as Walk for Life, in my opinion.
And it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Also, is this the second week in a row Sting's appeared on the album?
Yes.
And didn't you say he featured on a Phil Collins song?
Yeah, he was on Long, Long Way to Go.
Nice.
One of the better songs on the album.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Dude, can I just say that I've been listening to Inside Out so much since we listened to the album last week.
Nice.
Take it or leave it, but
Really?
taking it all fucking day long, dude.
Not a chance. Haven't listened to a single song from that album.
Dude, no, it's just watch the last like minute and a half on that live video of it that I sent you. And if the guitar solo doesn't do anything for you, which you're crazy if it doesn't, the drummer kind of goes off in it too. So, but that was
I'll
last
have to
week.
give it a watch.
Yeah, that was last week. So I just wanted to throw that out there because it's been repeatedly listening to it. So, but yeah, I think this album was a lot different. How did we even land on Dire Straits? I guess we kind of talked about it a little bit in the couple weeks before.
Yeah, I suggested it just because this outsold Phil Collins as the number one, and that was number two. And I thought
So you just wanted to one up Dan?
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I
Essentially.
knew we all liked this album, or at least liked the Dire Straits. And I was like, I'm interested. I was just really interested to hear what was happening at the exact same time, and like what was number one to number two.
It's a good
And I'm
thought.
glad
Yeah.
we picked it. I have this on vinyl, and I've listened to the first three songs a ton, a lot before. But my God, this is probably the album I've listened to the most between episodes. Like this, I've listened to this like 20 times in the past week. Oh my God, it's just so awesome. I love this album. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. I mean,
Great.
why don't you just what else do you like about it? Because that's pretty interesting. Of all the albums, not even like Red Hot Chili Peppers you listen to this much.
I think the main reason is I wasn't super familiar with it. Like I knew the first three songs because everyone knows the first three songs, I think. But like, so this is I'm looking at this is the LP listing, which is like they're abridged versions of the songs. The CD version has longer versions, and like Why Worry as an 8.5-minute song, I think is like I was blown away at how amazing that song is. It's just like I think it's just so beautiful, and I love the keys in it so much. And I had never listened to it really before, and like sat down and listened to it, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then going into Ride Across the River, which is just so different. And I mean, those last couple songs are all about war and different perspectives of war, and they all have their own theme to them. Like they're all very different sounds. I think that's what makes this album so re-listenable. Is every song, while they're all quintessentially Dire Straits, they all have a very different flavor to them. Like Right Across the River has all that like reggae Afro punk vibe to it. So Far Away is just like a great, like, I don't know, it's just a super easy listening song. Then Money for Nothing is like adrenaline right into the veins, like the most fun song ever, I think. It's kind of up there with what's that Phil Collins song? The super famous one.
In the Air Tonight.
In the Air Tonight, yeah. It's like that. I think it's like the same thing, just like those 80s songs that just like knocked it out of the park. And then Walk of Life is just another, just like, I remember listening to Walk of Life in the car with Inky and Sonoma. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it right here, man. This is the good vibes. And it's such just a good vibe song, just happy. I don't know. I'm not a musician. I don't have any music terms. I just think it's a beautiful song and a lot of fun.
No, you
and
that's it.
Yeah, it's just fun listening. And your latest trick is, I wish I could listen to this while I'm talking about it, but I think if I do, it'll be picked up in the recording because I'm in my headphones. So I'm gonna abstain.
Rough. That's what I do every episode.
Exactly. I really like the lyrics of Why Worry. It's just talking about the sun always shines after it rains, so why worry now? You're gonna be fine. I'm like, that's really nice. That's a nice song, and it's just really beautiful and peaceful. And The Man's Too Strong. That guitar hits so hard. Oh my God, it's so cool. Every song just has such a unique flavor, and they're all just so interesting. I would say One World is probably the weakest point of the album, and I think the Spotify streams reflect that. It's a lot less than the rest of the album. It doesn't really do anything for me. And then Brothers in Arms is just good commentary on like the Falklands War, which was happening at the time, UK and Argentina head to head in battle. Just a nice closing to the album. And MVP is that beautiful cover art. That's just like, it's like liminal almost, it's just kind of it's just a nothing place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like peaceful and serene, and it's a gorgeous guitar. Something I thought was really interesting, that was my last point. Yeah, it's gorgeous. The last point that I thought was really interesting reading about how this was recorded was like how many members filtered throughout the band of the recording. So many people came and went, and what like was the Dire Straits. It was really just like Mark Knopfler and then whoever else was in the room at the time, um, which I find interesting. Just a lot of bands are kind of really rooted in their members. You look at Led Zeppelin, you look at Rush, you look at Red Hot Chili Peppers, like but here it's just kind of Mark and then whoever was, the studio artist or the people that he was good friends with and came on. So I thought that was really interesting. I mean, look at that. Yeah. That says a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But that's my thoughts. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's really listenable. I mean, just over and over again. I was a huge fan, and I'm going to continue to listen to this like all the time. I'm glad we listened to it for this because I've discovered a lot more about the Dire Straits that I like.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go next. I agree with a lot of what you said, Jack. Like it was pretty easy to listen to all week. Pretty enjoyable from song one, starting right off the bat with "So Far Away." I think it's a great song, and like the resonator guitar that's in the cover art is like a very signature sound, and right off the bat you can tell this is it's something that separates it from its peers as far as this album goes. Like it's got that bluesy sound, a lot of slide action, and that unique resonator sound, which I think is really cool. The first three songs knock it out of the park. I'm not a fan of Your Latest Trick, but the first three songs are awesome. And that the intro to that guitar riff on Money for Nothing is just so like, I mean, it's just so recognizable. Like you can't mistake it for anything else, and you know what's coming after too. I think other than One World and Your Latest Trick, every song on this album's pretty great. And like you said, there are a lot of different almost genres, subgenres, or vibes within this album. I think Right Across the River is an awesome song. Reminds me a lot of it does have that like reggae feel, but it reminds me a lot of Men at Work, the vocal style, the bass style, which I thought was cool. And then The Man's Too Strong is just such an awesome song. I listened to that right before we started recording. Again, I just love the way it like everything hits every time he says strong.
Yeah.
And then Brothers in Arms is also really cool. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but the not the initial intro, but like a couple of these songs have an intro and then another intro, and then the rest of the song kind of starts. But after that, like in the first intro, I guess, in Brothers in Arms, the song, the chord progression and the bass progression is the same as Heart-Shaped Box from Nirvana. And I noticed that immediately, and it was kind of interesting just because like I don't know. I mean, I didn't expect to hear something because I love Nirvana, so I didn't expect to hear that progression at the very end of listening to this album, and I was like, wait, I know exactly what that is. Obviously, this came out way before that, but it's just music gets recycled, over time. But
did you say you heard that in Brothers in Arms?
Yeah,
You're a beast, Nigel.
Yeah, that's awesome. I could never do that.
So cool.
I think it was. Well, maybe it wasn't last week. I think it was the Pink Floyd album had a very similar bass line as to the other one. I think I pointed that out. But I love catching like those little similarities between songs, especially when there's generational gaps. You never know if that inspired somebody or if it's just coincidence. But I think it's cool. But yeah, this was a great album to listen to. I thought it was very cohesive as far as the quality of the songs and how they flow into each other. And yeah, it was a great listen. It was definitely a great listen. Definitely will be adding so far away, walk of life, ride across the river, and I'm adding every song on this album except for One World and Your Latest Trick. Those are not quite as good, but the rest of them I really liked, and I'll probably continue listening to this album. I'm going to save this album and continue listening to it after this.
Fair. I like Your Latest Trick. I like the sax. I think maybe I'm just biased.
The
But
sax is good. It's a little too slow for me.
Yeah, I would say maybe like a little long for that tempo. I would agree. But one thing I think you said it really well. And that guitar is so them. And my one thing I forgot to add that I wanted to get in was that listening to Why Worry. I think that's my favorite song that I didn't know before. Looking at my phone and seeing that there's 3 more minutes and I'm 5 minutes into the song, I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so excited to listen to 3 more minutes of this. But that song, I just was so pumped that I have so much left of this song to listen to, because it just, I don't know, it takes me to a different world. I think it's such a beautiful song. So good stuff.
That's an interesting point. I'm thinking of songs that midway through I'm like, let's go. I still have 3-4 minutes of it. Like the only songs that I can think that I would have that reaction to would be ones that build up and you're getting excited, anticipating the ending. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking Stairway to Heaven. I kind of have that, but I've listened to that so many times now, it kind of wore off.
I love Strawberry Letter 23. That
song
builds forever. It's so fucking good.
That's such a great song. Let the Beat Build by Lil Wayne. That's
absolutely. I will add also just about this album, this band. I knew 2 songs on this album coming in: Money for Nothing and Walk of Life. Not familiar with Dire Straits really at all. Was not familiar with this album. Not even familiar with, I think, any of the cover art of any of their albums really. So not a I guess Sultans of Swing I also know, but not super familiar with the band, and definitely glad we did it this week because I was definitely very impressed. And I think it was also a really cool choice, Jack, because it was at the same time as the album we did last week, and just to get that perspective of what else is going on at the same time, I think is pretty cool, because this is wildly different from what Phil Collins was doing. And I think in the future,
and both very successful, which is so interesting.
I think in the future, as we pick albums, I think it would behoove us to try to pick them in groups, maybe, or in pairs, to help us compare and contrast from week to week.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I'm down for that. All right, who's next?
Dan.
Inky's got the great lighting.
Here's any thoughts. I do have the good lighting. I can go with the good lighting if you want me to go with the good lighting.
It's not going anywhere, I imagine.
I don't know. The sun's moving at all times. It could disappear at any moment.
I'm totally wrong. I'd like to hear what Dan's got to say.
He's going to be like, this is trash. It's nothing like Phil Collins.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah, so my dad had this on CD and vinyl. And when I first started buying CDs in high school, the first CDs I bought were Greatest Hits of the Police and Greatest Hits of Dire Straits. I think the name of the album was Money for Nothing. So I've been listening to this album for a long time. And it is kind of cool that we're doing it with Phil Collins, because we talked a lot about how that album sounded pretty commercial. And I'm curious if you guys think that word applies to this album, because I think this album sounds pretty commercial too.
I'm with you.
I agree.
In pretty similar ways. to me, I've been listening to it for a while. Like I really like this album. It's a great album. But like I can't listen to Walk of Life anymore. It just seems like so hokey. Like Mark Knopfler's kind of vocal style. He's like kind of emulating this like Bob Dylan, like talky voice that kind of just like has worn on me, I would say, over the years of like listening to Dire Straits. Because I can't say that I listen to them too much anymore. Like I listen to Sultans of Swing, like Tunnel of Love, Romeo and Juliet, some of the songs on that like Greatest Hits album. But like to me, that's kind of like the band that they are. They're kind of like the Greatest Hits album. I like go and pick out a few songs. They're really good at what they did. Like I don't think this album would have sold nearly as many copies as it did without like Sting in that music video for Money for Nothing.
Great music video, by the way. I was going to call that out.
Groundbreaking. It's like a groundbreaking music video, and definitely
because it'd be
and funny commentary. Just like literally, it's just making fun of music videos, and makes one of the greatest music videos ever. And also, I think a big part of the success was the fact that they released it on like digitally, like with the CD, like that accessibility, and this being one of the first albums to have that. That's definitely a huge part of its success. Because I was also surprised that this was like when I read that this was #1 in front of Phil Collins, I was shocked. And I think, there was definitely some good marketing to go along with that. You know, people, I mean, like a bad album isn't going to be the best, like the best selling and like as you know, as commercially successful, like it's still going to be good. And I think that's also seen with the Phil Collins album, because there's a lot of great stuff on that, and especially for the time, with both of these albums, there was a lot of great stuff. But I agree.
They like the same year. They were both like all like nominated at that Grammy Awards. Like Phil Collins' record won it for Record of the Year, but I'm pretty sure this was like nominated, and for multiple other things. But they're both like great representations of the fucking middle of the 80s, 1985, man. Because like all the other Dire Straits albums or all the songs I know are like much more like guitar influenced. They have that same kind of like, I don't know, for like your latest track and like Why Worry, they kind of feel like a little adult contemporary. Like that's just kind of what Mark Knopfler's lyrics are going for. You kind of hit that dad lounge rock kind of aesthetic, which is great. Like he's a fucking fantastic guitarist. Like the work that he does on all these songs, like he carries it. He carries this album. Not him, his Stratocaster, but like it really is like a testament to like a great guitarist. Like he could easily be in my top 10, depending on like what I'm listening to, you know.
Fair. He does a lot of finger picking riffs, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on this album, I feel like he does a lot of kind of Andy Summers stuff. Like I feel a lot of like influence of synchronicity.
That reggae thing, is that kind of what you're comparing it to?
No, like you know those like the ambient kind of guitar sounds he does on like Walking in Your Footsteps and like Tea in the Sahara. Like Ride Across the River kind of makes me think of that too, you know. Like The Man's Too Strong kind of just feels like a Bob Dylan song, in my opinion. He really like if you listen to that song again, like when Mark Knopfler starts singing, I could be convinced it's Bob Dylan for like the first sentence.
I think I saw that comparison somewhere online.
Yeah, same. And they did work together too. Dan, do you like Bob Dylan?
Yeah. I would like, I'm a fan of like 60s Bob Dylan. Like Bob Dylan has a long history and he's kind of changed over it.
Yeah.
Like songs like Hurricane, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great
good oldies. Yeah. But coming back to this album, like I forgot about So Far Away. That's like a fantastic song. I think it's like a great opener for this album. That's like such a like a lot of his guitar licks kind of stick in your head. And I think this is one that you just like, you pick up, you're like, oh yeah, easily bop right into this album. Money for Nothing is like one of the best opening guitar solos ever. Really slow build into it, especially with the drum solo. Absolute classic. Sting carries lyrically just by singing Don't Stand So Close to Me. Walk of Life, I can't really listen to the song anymore. Sorry, guys.
Fair.
Fair enough, yeah.
Fair. I get it.
And like maybe it's just because I'm kind of riding that high energy of like what Phil Collins is doing, but like your latest trick through to like Man Sue Strong, like it is kind of low and like melancholic. Like they kind of have like a more rumblier sound. But all the guitar work in those songs are great through and through. Like the sax can be pretty nice on your latest trick, but I think it can get a little old. Because I think on Spotify it's like all the longer versions are played.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that might not be for everyone. Like I think it depends on the day if you want to listen to one of these songs for the full length. Most of you guys would probably do that, but I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. I looked at the runtime when I was listening to it, saw that it was 55 minutes, and I was like, that's kind of strange for something of the vinyl era, because how would you split that up across 2 sides? You'd have to put it on 4 sides. Didn't even realize that it was just like an extended CD version. Because I was also looking at the runtime of each song, thinking like, geez, like these are all pretty lengthy. I mean, even on the like original 48-minute album, there's still a lot of long run times. There's nothing under 3.5 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's not really like there's any like 2-part like chorus verse out type of songs that move that quick.
And Mark Knopfler like does a pretty good job creating like these long songs that keep you interested. Like Sultans of Swing was a super long song. Like what the single cut I think was like over 5 minutes or like something like that.
I think it's 7. Yeah.
Was the single cut 7? You might be right. But like regardless, like they make it work. Like Brothers in Arms will always be an amazing song. And it's the perfect representation of like their lower, more melancholic sound, like while being this anti-war protest song. Like it does really well. And like I think
Sultans of Swing was Sultans of Swing was 5 minutes 47 seconds. So I was a bit off.
Okay. Gotcha.
Guess I don't know music.
Nope.
I guess.
I'll mute myself.
Yeah, we'll take 1984 down. Don't worry.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I really like this album, but I was just kind of like shocked. It didn't really do as much for me coming back to it. Like there's still plenty of songs that I would listen to.
Do you
I was
think
surprised at how much.
any of that feeling is just bitterness from Nigel roasting last week?
It's all bitterness. It's
No,
all
I
bitter.
think it is like a really kind of cool idea.
You sound a little more sour than usual, Dan.
Yeah.
That
The
hurt.
Jack Required should have
I
been
think
number
Nigel went
one.
hurt you last week.
Oh man, my Be Still My Heart. But now it's kind of cool to do the comparison of like the 2 most popular albums of the time.
Should we do it for 86 or 70 or 75
I mean,
or 69?
we'll just.
Yeah, that's a lot of good years. All right, guys, get your
We'll
head out
get
of
probably-
together.
we'll
You
get-
probably could come up with 2 that are like very different. I mean, the way you do that, I guess, is you would just look at like the top of the charts for any year and pick 2 different albums. And that could be a way that we find our first like F album.
Exactly. That's exactly
Take
what
one
I
of
was
the pop
thinking.
albums.
It's like a Bee Gees
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, exactly.
could do
You
some
know,
ABBA.
because like we're all picking stuff that we like, and so we're never going to find ourselves a shit album. But if we pick based off what the general public thinks,
Close.
the general
Yeah,
public
what
are
you
idiots.
guys like?
Our listeners are idiots.
These guys suck. I hate all of them.
That could be cool. Yeah, something to think about.
That's a good idea.
I guess we're never getting to that Jefferson Airplane album, are we?
I think we should just leave it there indefinitely, forever, and never listen to it.
Be a community meme.
Yeah.
Will they? Won't they? With Jefferson Airplane.
Will they? Won't they? Well, that was a good take, Dan. I appreciate that. It sounds like you know the album really well, so interesting to hear how it's aged for you.
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
didn't know you and Jack were going to be like the two most studied on this.
I mean, I've only studied really over the past week. But
I thought you said you have the vinyl.
I have the vinyl, but I only listened to the first half a couple times. I bought it for money for nothing. I saw the store, it was like $10. I'm like, I gotta get that just for money for nothing. Anyways.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Anything else, Dan?
No. I think you can hit it. I mean, despite what I said, I think this is probably easily like don't get me wrong.
Whoa! Slow down. We're not there. Yo, we're not there.
Inky, you gotta cut that. Put a commercial plug in there.
Sponsor.
Inky, do you want it next, or you want me to take it?
I can let you clean up because honestly, Dan was speaking a lot of my language there. I think this was highly anticipated for all of us. Personally, I came out a little disappointed. Similar to what Dan was saying, and well, I guess that's not really what he said. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I can't. Okay, well, what I got out of the album was my true relationship with Dire Straits. I think the A side, you guys covered it pretty well. You know, the hits, the bangers, great songs. Really can't take anything away from them. And I'm not saying I prefer the B side, but songs like I guess Why Worry as well, but Ride Across the River and The Man's Too Strong is more so what I personally love about the Dire Straits. It's that like stripped down, less instruments, simpler sound. The debut album really has that. Communique, Making Movies, those are their first 3 albums. And I don't exactly know what it is. I actually looked into this like throughout the week and Dan kind of touched on it is a little bit more commercial. And if you listen to this in comparison with those 3 albums, it's pretty obvious. It'll jump right out at you. But if you go down to the personnel, I don't know much about his brother, David Knopfler, I think, but he's missing from this album. But for me, and again, I kind of had this pointed out to me by my buddy I mentioned in college. In college, was a huge fan, but Pick Withers. I don't know if you guys know anything about him, but he was the drummer for those 3 albums. And Nigel, you can tear me apart in a minute, but just let me go. He had this really like restrained, syncopated, filling in the gaps sort of drumming. It's not that powerful sound like Keith Moon or John Bonham. And again, like I'm not a drummer, so and definitely not a music critic, but that unique sound that I associate with the Dire Straits is kind of missing from this album. So I also hate to compare the album we're talking about to their previous work, and it's from a different era and context, but I don't know, that's kind of where I stood with it.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Dan, you're muted again.
Dang it. My mic keeps flashing, so I'm worried that I'm like giving like feedback.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're better Dire Straits albums, is all I was gonna say. Like their first album and Communique, Making Movies.
Which one should I listen to next?
Yeah, I'll definitely check their debut album out, I guess.
Yeah. I think I have their debut on vinyl. And also Making Movies is really good.
Inky, obviously, I mean, I can't really speak on their drums from their other albums because I haven't listened to them, but maybe next week I'll be able to come back.
So did you like it, Inky?
It was a good
Inky,
album.
do you like it?
I think similar to Dan. Yeah, you have to give it something.
Yeah, you do. It's awesome. It's the best album ever.
It'll probably
So
go
good.
in A.
What are you talking about? It's an S.
Oh god.
Inky, I just had a thought. You've already given your 2-week notice and you're just chilling at the office right now? How are the vibes?
They're quiet. They're unemployed vibes. The vibes
No.
are reeking of unemployment.
Is that like a hallowed vibe, like an ominous like?
It's like,
Or it's-
yeah, pretty hollow. And imagine you're getting $40 drawn out of your bank account every month from Shopify for a website that no one uses. Kind of vibes. It is rough.
$40.
Dude, it's expensive. The website is not cheap. Go. Should I flip
It's
back? Are we?
Yeah, I
We're
think
showing
it
it in
sounds
the-
like you might need to
it's
plug
only
this
mid-episode.
thing in a little bit more.
Wait,
Hey,
is
you
that
gotta spend money
because
to make money.
you're
Here's the real album that
spending
we
money
listened to.
for someone else to host your site and to use their website formatting to like? Is that what you're saying? Like a Squarespace type thing? Is that what you're using?
Shopify is it's a Squarespace type thing.
Okay, gotcha. Because I've owned a domain before and it's like $15 for like 2 years or some shit. So I was just kind of
Yeah, it's not that. Here he is. Though. Hey,
Yikes.
the goat.
He's not a looker.
He
He kind of
made
looks
the
like a goat. Kind of looks like a goat.
Yeah. Percussionist
brother
never,
looks like that guy
It's not
who made his
really a
kids
looker
unite, though.
either.
All right.
Yeah, it really does.
There's his brother too. They don't. I guess they look alike, dude. They not much of a looker band at all.
Yeah.
it's their eyes, man. It's the eyes.
They're no
They have
Rolling
the eyes of
Stones.
artists.
All right.
Yeah.
Back on track. Seamus, I think it's you. Let me just say MVP, Money for Nothing, for sure. What a song, man. So awesome. Despite everything I said. I can't believe Walk of Life had more plays on Spotify.
Yeah, that's really surprising and kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And if you will, I'll use that as my segue. Coming into this album, definitely didn't know a lot on it. I thought maybe I'd listened to cover before, but I'm not sure if I have actually. I actually do think that I knew So Far Away, which I thought is a decent song. Money for Nothing, definitely the highlight for me, which is probably not a shock at all. And again, being a big Police fan, it's cool to see a Sting cameo on here. Really fun, energetic song. We also touched on the music video, but I think this is true. Didn't one of them, either maybe Sting or maybe Mark Knopfler, weren't they in like an appliance store or like a Best Buy or something like that, and they heard one of the workers talking about like a rock star that was on like a music video on the TV, saying like some of the things that are quoted in this, and that was the inspiration for it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It was Mark Knopfler.
Yeah, okay. And it's funny because in classic fashion, I snuck a listen of this in on my way home from work today because I had only listened to it maybe one, maybe two other times this week. So I worked a sneaky 10-hour day today, and that's on the back of what was a sneaky 50-something hour week last week. So it's funny listening to Money for Nothing where they're talking about like moving appliances and TVs and stuff. I'm obviously not physically moving them. I would never do such work. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a blood later.
Yeah, I love the warehouse vibe, but I'm moving appliances in terms of sales and stuff. And my point is just like
funny, yeah.
there is, and I was obviously in such a kind of like annoyed vibe because I just worked a 10-hour day on the back end of a long week last weekend. So it definitely had that kind of like chippy rock and roll feel to it. Obviously, it's kind of a funny commentary because they're quoting like blue collar workers who are looking at and criticizing the life of rock stars, but the song rocks, and it's kind of like an ironic take on it because it's usually looked at as a pretty enviable lifestyle, and for all of us who like music and would also really enjoy never having to work a desk job again. that whole vibe really resonated with me today. On the first listen that I did of this, Walk of Life, I recognized the song, didn't realize it was Dire Straits. And I don't really know what that says about the band, honestly, because like there's a lot of songs where if you hear them, and Walk of Life is like it's a radio song. There's a lot of songs that if you hear them, you're going to know, oh, it's this band. I've never heard this song before, but it's this band. Walk of Life, I was like, oh my God, like, I recognize the song, never knew it was them. And I also kind of felt like it was a little hokey, a little cheesy. Maybe that's just the media that I've seen it in. So I can't say that I was like crazy about that one. And then I think maybe the only other song that I have like a distinct take on, your latest track. Also listening to that on the way home today, driving through like the city, like City Ave and stuff. It just in like the late evening. I don't know why, but it just made me think of like a cop drama. Like,
Yeah,
Unreal.
like a detective type thing, or
yeah. And I was driving on City Ave, like maybe this town doesn't need a hero anymore. Kind of like,
You're too close to the case, Amos.
Dude, you had such an emotional connection.
Gotta
to this
step
album.
away.
Brilliant.
low key, I guess I do. I mean, because that's
It's crazy.
but all
I mean,
that being
Seamus just
said,
feels the music, you know. It's not like he's listening to the lyrics, so he's just gotta really.
yeah, I gotta compensate for it somehow. And that actually, I mean, like, I think Jack can also like speak to that about music. Like, yeah, we could sit here and talk about like the musical composition element of it, but probably for everybody in this panel. But I know Jack talks from this perspective of a lot of just like the way you hear it and like the emotional impact of it. I think that counts for a
I'm
lot.
an emotional guy. I don't know anything.
Yeah, this guy's a pussy. No, I'm just kidding.
Just a pussy.
What's the word they use in the song?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
I knew that was going to come up.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Cancel.
Don't make
Did
me
they
edit.
Didn't
Yeah,
they
that would be
re-record it
so
without
slow.
that? Didn't they re-record it for the 25th anniversary and change the lyrics or something? I remember reading that
I
somewhere.
think they cut that whole
25.
verse out, I think.
2010.
Yeah. I think I was
Yeah,
like doing like
I think
the
it's kind of funny because it's like clearly not, you know,
Their
like
actual take.
bigotry or like it's clearly not derogatory. Like the perspective is derogatory, but it's by Seamus. Oh wait, by Jack. Who left?
I
Yeah.
do. I tried to
Oh,
Command T. It's still recording. We're good. I tried to click Command T to open a new tab, and I clicked Command R and refreshed it, and it kicked me out of the meeting.
nice.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's not like they were disparaging against the gay community. Like it was clearly just they were making fun of people who would think that way. So I get the language is a little explicit, but
Yeah.
It's a bit foodie.
It's context. All about context.
Yeah. It was about. It was in reference to Vince Neil of Motley Crue. That's who it was.
Oh, really?
Just like the way that he dressed. Because it's Motley Crue. And I love Motley Crue. I think that's awesome.
They could have taken a shot at any fucking hair metal band. I mean, they could
Yeah,
take a shot at
yeah,
anybody in Van
Poison.
Halen.
Yeah,
Like White
exactly.
Have
White
you seen
Snake,
the
yeah.
Jeopardy music video?
as soon as I listened to that song this week and I heard those lyrics, I was like, I need to look up the lyrics because I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
hearing this right. And then I
Same.
looked up, then I had to look up the meaning too. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, and I mean, just to that point, like, unfortunately, the masses are just going to hear something, and no matter how badly out of context it is, there's no effort to put it in context. People are just going to freak out. So, unfortunately, you kind of have to react to defensively. But yeah, I also can't say that I'm super upset that was taken out. It doesn't keep me up at night, put it that way. But maybe it keeps Nigel up at night. But
It does keep Nigel up. I heard.
Speaking of
I haven't
vaccines,
slept all week after I figured that out.
did you say
why I'm so
speaking of
tired.
vaccines?
yeah, I've been thinking about that. I've been meaning to sneak that in there. We said it so much during our Cornell episode. That's, like it was
God, I
mostly Kyle
forgot.
and Tim.
Yeah,
kept
and
saying
Porter.
those.
Definitely Porter.
And
If we talk about
I was dying every
vaccines.
time.
We got an audience. We might as well do it. Got to get the truth out there some way.
Worked for Joe Rogan, didn't it?
Oh man.
I
Brutal.
think the only other song that I really have any input on is "The Man's Too Strong." I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I was as fond of it as you guys were. I do think one interesting thing is like that dynamic of it getting really like emphasized and almost like dark when he plays the man's too strong part. Really just reminds me of certain examples within like grunge, like kind of like how Nigel's talking about how things can get reused. Funny that you brought Nirvana into this, and I think it's either an Alice in Chains song or a Jerry Cantrell song, and I can't think of what it is now, but there's in that song like this really just kind of like sudden abrupt like, darkness that happens with the guitar on a certain lyric. So there's like that dynamic emphasis is similar. But that's just it for individual songs. Again, Money for Nothing being my MVP. Walk of Life has to be my overrated one just simply because it has the most listens on the album. But and also like Mark Knopfler is a great guitarist. Kind of like he's a sneaky good guitarist too, because it's not as much of like some of these other guys that I'm so fond of that are like frontmen and really putting on such a show, like a Van Halen tapping, maestro performance in Eruption sort of thing. But he's a very adept guitar player, probably very underrated, not a name that like again the masses are too familiar with compared to like an Angus Young. So credit there. But I will say, like, the album as a whole, for me, like, you talked about it, like, as an easy listen. It is, like, an easy listening album for the pace of everything on here besides Money for Nothing. But I wouldn't describe it as, like, an easy listen for me. And that's purely just because of, like, my tastes. It's a slower tempo, a little bit softer dynamically. And I do have an appreciation for like those elements in some of these songs. But again, I wouldn't say it's like something that I found myself easily listening to, easily repeating like I did maybe the Men at Work album. But I also listened to the extended version of the album. So it's a 55-minute album for 9 songs. That does make a bit more. So, and I would say that's pretty much my only feedback. I'm interested to listen to the first 3 albums just to try to hear a little bit more how this sounds a little bit more commercial, only because I don't think that a lot of these songs in the back half have like radio song qualities to them. But I can see how songs like Walk of Life and Money for Nothing could be described as commercial.
Yeah, that's why Inky brought up that like that second side kind of makes him think of the earlier stuff because it sounds less so of that like commercial accessibility of the first side. I believe that's what he meant. Also, don't let the words.
Hey, we're all putting words in each other's mouths. It's great.
What
friendship's about.
You guys have definitely ruined Walk of Life for me. I really liked it going into this, and now I've like thought about it the whole time. Like, I actually don't know how much I can listen to it anymore.
I think it's a great
thinking
song.
how corny it is. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, but you got to think about it when it came out. Like, it wasn't corny. There wasn't all this corny media associated with it. It was just a good song.
Yeah.
I'll rebuttal with Studio. That song
you're
was corny when
absolutely
it came out.
No, absolute garbage.
It's hokey, right? Hokey as fuck.
And just catching strays this week.
Yeah.
Hey, I like Studio. I got your back.
Yeah,
I know.
These are all good albums.
Exactly. I think it's what time does to it, But hey, you like what you like. Shall we move on to the review?
Wait,
Or
sure.
the rating?
On that note,
see where this falls.
Everyone pick your favorite letter of the alphabet.
What's up, Inky?
I think I stole this idea from you. You had a playlist called "Wake the Fuck Up." And I made one.
Yeah.
Is this going to be "Go the Fuck to Bed"?
No. So I saw that and I was like, oh, it's a good idea. So
Turn this shit off.
I kind of
forgot I had that playlist. I gotta see what's on there.
Kind of debating saying this live, but the yes, the last song on it was "Walk of Life," and I'm pretty sure, like either sophomore or junior year, I listened to that playlist once a day when I woke up. So I listened to "Walk of Life" every day for probably a semester or 2 or 3. So there you go.
And that was on a wake up playlist.
Yeah.
Were you
What a great
walking
way to
class?
start your day. Butterflies flying behind you.
Seamus, if you want to hear mine, it was "Good Times, Bad Times," "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue,
That's
"Fly by Night," Tom Sawyer and Carry On My Wayward Son, Kansas. That song is so awesome.
Dude, we
You
are
don't
waking
even
up in
caffeine.
alternate universes. Mine is. Let me go through mine now. Perfect Day, Lou Reed. The Rain Song.
Oh
Dear
my
Prudence,
god.
Joey Garcia. Good Day, Sunshine by the Beatles.
Nice.
Dude,
Oh,
We're gonna need to cut this
oh.
out. And then Walk of Life.
I forgot Smokin' by Boston.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smokin'
No,
by
we
the
were doing different things, Inky. We were having different days.
Dude, Inky, that is like a stay in bed type of playlist.
Starting
Yeah,
with Lou
actually,
Reed.
that
I mean,
So if that's your
awesome.
wake up music, like what's your chill music?
Carry On My Wayward
What's
Son
up?
is Inky's Go to Bed song.
yeah. Reverse.
Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Raining Blood by Slayer.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh man.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Well, I said what I said earlier.
I don't remember what you
The
said.
bottom of A.
Really, I'm
I know it's
surprised you
not
say A after everything you said. But
Yeah, Sam.
Um,
I mean, I guess you're just kind of jaded on the album, but you still appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's just what it is. That's why I kind of wanted to bring up like what the commercial aspect, because I kind of felt that listening through it. Like it is kind of interesting to compare it to Phil Collins' album because they're both like such huge like monoliths of 80s sound, just in different ways.
And they were the
And-
top two, right, of that year.
yeah.
We should listen to the bottom two.
How would we find the bottom two? There's probably zero.
I
Got
don't
like
know.
6 copies sold.
You gotta,
You got to go to those like old vinyl record shops, like
Look up,
under the old ass tables.
I think
and those
Viper was
crates.
dropping tracks.
You gotta go to
back in-
Jenkintown. Find this
Viper.
85-year-old man who has every single
Fans
record
back
from
in
his
like-
life.
85.
Douche.
the worst
Oh, man.
albums of 1885. You're gonna hear it
Oh.
here first, folks. The shittiest
man.
music of the 80s.
Dan, going back to there, I think I'm with you. I would go bottom of A. I personally don't love the Radiohead album, so I think the highest I would go is in between Mad Villain and Radiohead, and the lowest I would go is behind In Through the Outdoor, because I just love putting everything behind In Through the Outdoor. I think that's just higher for me in general. So I think that averages out to bottom of A for me.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna have to listen to London Calling, so I know what the hell it's doing up there. Was that Koala Koala? Was that episode?
It was Koala
was.
Koala. You had another one too. I can't remember what it was.
Take me out to the ball game. I'll go. I know I interrupted somebody, but I'm gonna go. I would put this at an A. I'd put it below the Benz. I think the Benz is definitely better, but I think this is an A album.
I'm alone, I guess, in my S rating. I think it's an S. I am obsessed with this album. I might have a different opinion in 5 or 10 years or so of listening, but right now, I am. Whatever we pick next week, it's going to have to put the back seat because I'm going to continue to listen to this album.
Well, it'll be an in-person episode. At least
It
partially.
will. Yeah,
Where
3 of
in
us will be
Westchester?
in person. Say again?
Where in S would you go?
Oh,
Top of S.
shit, man. I mean, I I did argue against the Rush album, but I would probably put this.
I know. I didn't forget.
I'll never forget. I would probably put this at the bottom of S. I'd probably put this behind Rush.
Behind Rush album. Okay.
So I could see us landing in. Seamus, did you go?
I'm definitely alone here as well on the opposite side of the spectrum. I would probably say B. I mean, again, based on my personal preferences, I would say probably bottom of B.
Damn.
I don't know. It's probably in the bottom 3 of B for me. And I don't know if I would listen to it before any album in B. And that's just my like the way it aligns with how I listen to music 95% of the time when I'm listening to music.
So your music taste, yes.
So yeah, I would say somewhere towards the bottom half of B. And it's going to land higher than that anyways. So I don't know if I really need to specify. Definitely below.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's important for you to say your piece and for me to say my piece. I guess if we could cancel each other out, actually, so we are irrelevant. So let's leave it to the A guys.
Always have been, always will.
I don't know about that. Bottom of B is lower than bottom of.
Okay, then top of S.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like if you average that out,
chance.
we'd probably be bottom of A, right? I mean,
I feel like we've been between Red Hot Chili Peppers and Radiohead.
Yeah,
that's exactly where I want it. That's exactly where I want it.
Okay, actually, I changed my mind. It's going to be in front of Radiohead.
No.
Well, congrats, Nige. You're the big winner this week, I guess.
You lucky bastard.
Hell yeah.
This week's big winner.
I kind of had the opposite take, Seamus, and that like I said what I said about it, but I would listen to it over most of the B stuff, except Phil Collins. But I have to live with that. So
you'd listen to it more than Hall & Oates?
Yeah, I would say. Like I think like Hall & Oates, that's like an acquired taste album that like I come back to every like once in a while, because it is kind of like easy listening, just like more acoustic based. But this is like a pop like album. We kind of touched on it. You know, it's easy listening. Jack's pretty nice. You can go through this whole album and not blink. You know.
Yeah, I would say that this falls in that like acquired taste for me. Acquired taste meaning like there's a time and a place for it, but it's not most of the time. But even so, for that vibe, I would put something like Asia, like in a similar vibe of like a more mellow, maybe rainy day type of thing, slow pace. But that is going so much higher than this. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's. Do we even need to do an episode on Asia? We could just put it at the top of S right now.
Yeah, we'd be done with it. We all know.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
No, I want to listen to it.
You're not allowed to listen.
Yeah, once it's up there, you can't listen to it ever again.
I know. I hate that we made that rule. It's
I hate that we made that rule for all the viewers too.
What happens if you break that rule?
You're not allowed back.
Yeah.
No, wait.
You're out of the cult.
Yeah, you don't get your security deposit on your joining the cult.
You got to start paying for the Shopify website.
Oh, God.
I'm dying, man.
Yeah.
I'm ruined.
So considerations for next week?
Should we pick a year?
I like that idea a lot. I think that's fun.
So pick a year.
We should go further back, more classic.
I'm down for further back.
67.
I like Jack's at 75.
Oh, 70s?
75.
That's
probably
there's probably gonna be a fucking Eagles album.
Let's do 73.
Physical
73?
Graffiti, Blood on the Tracks, Toys in the Attic, Born to Run.
Oh. What about
Is that
73?
Rumors?
73 has a lot of options. Good Lady S.
I'm looking at best-selling albums.
Ooh,
Lady
73 is quite the.
It's Dark Side of the Moon is the top one. I don't really want to do that next week.
No, we don't have to do that. But look at all the other albums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Who.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is second. That'll be an interesting episode.
Melton
Black
John.
Sabbath.
Dude, that would be
What?
Seamus. I think
It's more of a joke with Inky.
yeah.
Leonard
He hates
Skinner.
Elton John. I hate Billy Joel.
Yeah.
And they're the same person. So
Piano guy.
Different sides
Yeah,
of the
we
same
get it.
fucking coin.
that would be a pretty interesting episode if we did Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
There would be some fun takes there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Nige, did you say pronounced is on here? So if you're gonna make me listen to an Elton John record, then we gotta do pronounced Leonard Skinner.
Lady SM.
I don't want to listen to Elton John. Who said that?
Dude, I really like the idea of doing like the top 2 albums. I think that's interesting. 1972 is Simon and Garfunkel and Harvest by Neil Young.
Ooh, wow.
Like a back-to-back week.
Yeah, but that's an interesting
That's a pretty
back-to-back.
slow
I don't think
Seamus would like that. Yeah.
as much as I
It's a slow year.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah. Are you trying to kill me, man?
Dude, 76 is Hotel California and Eagles' greatest hits are the top two. That's insane.
Yeah, I fucking knew it.
God.
Double feature. Fucking Eagles.
I hate Hotel
No.
California.
No.
Yeah, I can't stand it anymore.
Boston was 76.
78's got some sick albums. I just know that from the back of my head. I think the Cars might have
Dude.
been that year. The Beast, Van Halen.
77 is Bad Outta Hell, Meatloaf, and Saturday Night Fever, Bee Gees.
Yeah, that's the one we got to do. That'll challenge our tastes.
That'll be crazy. I agree. It would.
First F album.
Dude, 1978 is stacked. I got to say that one more time.
Grease soundtrack and Parallel Lines by Blondie. Seamus with the Grease
Parallel
soundtrack.
Lines? Yo.
Wait, are they the top two?
Those are the top two.
No
hell
way.
yeah,
dude.
Ryan?
Yeah,
I love Parallel Lines is a great album.
I do love Blondie, man. Blondie's one of my favorites. But
I
yeah,
thought we were
dude,
doing 1 and 2. I'm just looking at albums.
we don't have to do 1 and 2. We could. I mean,
I think
dude.
we should just pick whatever.
Yeah, I think so
You
too.
know, in the top. I don't know what it is. Top 50.
12 and 13 of 78 are The Cars and Some Girls by Rolling Stones, that's two great albums right there.
What if we did
You've got
Black Sabbath?
Stefan, you've got the Police. I would do Sabbath.
I thought we were
It'd be a
going
pretty-
earlier.
It'd be a departure from what we've been listening
That's true.
to.
That's true. Dan, I'm down with what Dan said about going earlier.
Dan, you want to just pick a year, and then someone else will pick an album from the year?
Sure.
Pick a year. Someone else will pick a number, and that's what we do.
1946.
Oh,
I'll just go with fucking 1971.
all right, Inky, pick a number.
Just don't look. Just pick a number.
No, I'm picking an album from 1971.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's what he said.
Random chance could be dangerous here.
all right. We
Be
picked
fair.
the number 8.
8. Pearl by
Who's
Janis
next?
Joplin.
Janis Joplin. Oh, baby.
I don't really want to do who's
1, 2,
next.
3, 4,
Maybe
5,
I
6.
thought you were a huge Who fan based on your Mount
7.
Rushmore.
Oh god,
Tapestry
I got
by
all my
Carole
pants down.
King.
All right,
Maggot Brain.
Oh, that's such a good album, dude. I love Maggot Brain.
You guys
That would
being
be
serious?
Yes. Dude,
Yes.
Have you ever listened to Maggot Brain, Seamus?
I have not.
That was a Joe Magoo special right there. Oh my god, that's a good one. Inky,
I thought
no, you
punk
don't.
rock. I just looked at that.
Fragile was 71. We haven't done a Yes album.
Yes. That's a
I'm
good
down
one.
for yes.
That's a long album.
That's pretty heady.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
It is very heady. I don't know if Seamus would read that very well.
Beach Boys. Surf's Up. Beach Boys are good.
That sounds.
Those would be two wildly
That
different
sounds-
albums.
At Fillmore East. Allman
Oh.
Brothers.
Wait, I was looking at 72. Led Zeppelin 4 is the best
Oh,
album. of that
Master
year.
of Reality.
There's not a
Is that year
Zeppelin, though.
too?
Yeah, we could do another Zeppelin now.
The Doors.
I feel like if we
I like
would do
that. I
like
like
Once
that.
to the Holy or something.
Yeah, good point. House of the Holy would be a fun
Well,
time.
that was 73, right?
Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, Nigel was right with 73.
Yeah,
I like
I'm
all the ones you were saying, dude.
usually,
Yeah,
I'm not-
usually
I'm
right.
not loving
Again, is
75.
right.
House of the
Pinky.
Holy that we're deciding.
Inky, I'm down for Sticky Fingers. I know you said that. If we're giving Inky the choice.
I'm down to give Inky the choice.
I mean, we haven't done a Stones one yet.
Yeah,
No.
and that's a really good one. Like if you pick a Stones album, I'm glad it's that one.
Yeah, same.
That's the number one.
Dude,
and then we can
my-
get these next.
My uncle has the original pressing of that, and the zipper on the cover is an actual zipper of his pants of Sticky Fingers.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I got to
That's it.
do the zipper. Very cool.
Is there
stuff.
an actual wiener inside of it when you want to?
Yeah,
I
it's
knew that was
horrible.
coming.
It's
Yeah.
horrible. I don't touch it.
I hate
It's
that.
the album for me. It's a total D album.
Wow.
Ah.
I bought the album jack, and I have the one with the zipper. No sticky fingers inside though, but it's worth it because it has the zipper.
Really? That's
What do you
fine.
mean? You just have
kinda-
the cover?
It came with the cover. It was advertised as sticky fingers with like 5 of the
Zipper.
greatest songs. and then inside it was like Hot Rocks, their greatest hits. Like, oh,
Dude, that reminds me that when we were at
I'm
my
coming,
dad's
dude.
house and we grabbed a Commodore's album and we're like, oh, let's get weird. And we threw it on the record player and there was just the lyrics to
And you just hear,
Anybody Wanted by
"Any way you
Journey.
want it, that's the way you need it."
Oh
We're just
my
like, "What the
God.
fuck?" And it was like really loud.
That's so funny.
So we just
It was-
listened to Journey.
A crazy
we got
Rick roll.
rickrolled.
Yeah.
Crazy Rick roll.
It was just shocking. It was unbelievably shocking because the album opens with that. And then just
Oh my
scream
God.
right at the beginning. It's so funny.
So Sticky Fingers,
Sticky Fingers.
I think that's a great choice.
Winner right there.
Yes,
It's a
so.
winner.
Okay.
Cool beans.
Cool.
All right, gentlemen.
Nigel, outro us.
Nice.
What's that?
Sticky.
Good outro us.
Outros? Well, fans, it looks like it's come to be that time again where the show has ended and it's time to go home.
How do you say so much, so
Well-
little with so many words?
And we're all tired, and you're starting your day going off to. Okay, let's get out of here.
Is that what we're doing the next episode?
Who's
What?
Records?
That's our HQ.
Who are you? Who am I? Who are these guys? We're Who's Records,
Were you going to say something?
and we're a hoot.
Should we record the next episode there, Inky, at that exact spot in person?
Yeah,
It's our
At-
HQ,
at
so I mean,
Safeway.
I thought we would.
At a gold mine.
I thought we would. All right.